AFA reaction videos where we react to everything theme park. Hey, I'm Chris and this is AFA reaction videos. And today we are going to react to the History of Symbolica. Right, History of Symbolica, Palace of Fantasy. And we're watching this video. It's coming from, I think it's Exposition. Let me check real quick, because I've watched these guys before do this stuff. It's Expedition Theme Park. They do a lot of stuff on different theme park and history and everything like that. So before we start, if you like my channel and you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so you know when I upload a video. Next, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. So let's go ahead and start reacting to the History of Symbolica.
Welcome back to the Expedition. This week we'll be heading back to Europe and to one of the most popular parks in the world, Efteling. If you haven't already, I recommend watching our short video on the history of Efteling before diving into this episode. This week we'll be looking at the most expensive ride ever built inside the park, Symbolica Palace of Fantasy.
So this was the most expensive ride built inside the park. Now here's the thing. Is it the most expensive ride, or if you went back and looked at some older rides and took what it took to build those older rides and brought them up to today of what it would take to build, would it still be the most expensive ride, or would it be somewhat the same or less? Because I don't think some people look at it that way, because some of those rides that were built a while back ago, they didn't cost that. At that time, it seemed like a lot of money, but today it doesn't seem like a lot of money. So if you were to take some of those that were built in the past and build them today, it might cost just as much to build them as what it did. So I'd say I can understand if they're saying that they spent more money on this ride than they did any other ride, but that could also be due to like inflation over time too. But I just find it's interesting that this was one of the most expensive rides they spent money on. So let's go ahead and watch it. These guys do great videos. If you haven't watched them, you need to check them out. They're awesome.
Symbolica is a trackless dark ride that opened on the 1st of July 2017 for an estimated 35 million euros.
Wow.
The most expensive by far in the park's long history. The ride is built in the center of the park in an elaborate palace that takes riders on a journey down 3 potential paths of the palace in preparation of audience with King Pardulfus. However, Efteling's jester mascot, Pardos, takes visitors on a tour through the hidden sections of the castle instead. We will look more deeply at the ride story and the multiple different paths throughout, but first we will look at the ride's inception and how it was almost called a different name. Efteling had historically based a lot of its rides around classic fairy tales. However, back in the 90s, Efteling designers wanted to create a character unique to the park. Henry Canute created Pardos, a jester character that would be used as a mascot and for merchandise over the coming years. A whole backstory and supporting characters were created to support the fantasy idea of Pardos, noting that the new character was from the planet Symbolica. A ride was rumoured numerous times throughout the 90s and early 2000s involving these characters, but they never came to fruition. When Canute retired from designing at Efteling in the early 2000s, he left behind a detailed style guide that showcased more inhabitants of the planet Symbolica, and would be pivotal at finally bringing some of his creations to life via a ride within the park. In 2010...
So, was Pardos, was he not a character in the park before 2017? Is he a new character then? Did he not show up until Symbolica or around the time Symbolica was being constructed? So I just always thought that Pardos was always a symbol of Efteling. So I guess I did not know this. So Let's go ahead and watch more.
And a large multi-scale project began to finally utilize the characters from Symbolica. The new rumor was that the ride would be called Hartenhof, or Court of Hearts, which I can actually pronounce, and it would transform the centre of the Efteling Park. The attraction was to be open on the 60th anniversary of the park in 2012. It would be based around the park's mascot Pardos, and the theme would be similar to the currently open Pancake restaurant within the park.
Oh, wow.
As it got closer to 2012, it looked more and more likely that the ride would not be ready on time, as construction had not begun, with the ride being delayed until 2013. Construction never began, and news fell silent until 2015. The ride returned with a new name, Symbolica, which has been deemed more internationally friendly and was reported to be a trackless dark ride, with the ride system being supplied by ETF Ride Systems. ETF are behind Disney's Toy Story Midway Mania attractions, as well as rides at Phantasialand in Germany. The famous Garner Holt Productions, known for its animatronics, were approached to create 10 animatronics for the ride, including the main character Pardos. The ride would be highly detailed, highly elaborate, and the most expensive ever in the park. It was officially announced in January 2016.
See, now I talked about the whale, all right? So I know some of you said it wasn't working. I wasn't for sure if it was because the one I was watching was the last ride vehicle and the whale had already come down, and the last ride vehicle just missed the whale coming down. You guys had told me that it was hadn't been working correctly for a while, but I don't know. I thought, and understand, the first time I actually reacted to it, for some reason, I always thought that it was just like computer animated. Because for some reason in my mind, I remember that whale coming really close up, like his eye got even bigger coming close up to the window. So I don't know why I remember it that way, but obviously that's not the way it was. So I don't know why I remembered it that way, but I thought that was one of the neatest parts of this attraction was just that whale. So let's go ahead and watch on.
In that Symbolica, the Palace of Fantasy will be open the following year in time for the park's 65th anniversary, just 5 years after a ride was initially due to be open to coincide with the 60th anniversary. As the impressive palace was constructed in the center of the park, more details and artwork were released, and excitement among the park's fans were high. Efteling produced a series of teasers and behind-the-scenes looks to increase guest anticipation. The final building would be 40,000 square feet, and that would be covered by solar panels and outlined by a rooftop garden. Opening on the 1st of July 2017, the 7-minute-long ride was an absolute hit with guests. The ride would feature 6-person ride vehicles themed to wooden sleighs that follow predetermined paths that can travel in and out of dead ends, move forwards, backwards, rotate, and even overtake other vehicles on the route. The ride storyline would be that Symbolica's king invited his royal subjects on a guided tour of the Palace of Fantasy. The king's servant welcomes visitors in the reception hall with a long list of rules to follow on the tour, but Pardos hijacks the tour and takes visitors through the secret corridors and magical rooms of the palace. The ride features elaborate sets, numerous animatronics, and a grand ballroom finale. The riders can select one of 3 different routes: the Hero Tour, the Music Tour, and the Treasure Tour. The castle in total consists of 11 different scenes, with each route chosen visiting 9 out of the 11 scenes. Some of the scenes that can be visited are an observatory, a botanical garden, a treasure boudoir, music lounge, royal hall, and a gallery of the Imaginers. The different ride vehicles will reunite for the final scene, in which they will dance in the ballroom finale.
Wow. So I don't know if I think I mentioned this when I reacted to it. And if you like Symbolica, I think you should check out, because Symbolica reminds me a lot of Mystic Manor that's at Hong Kong Disneyland. And if you like this, I think you would like like that as well. So if you get a chance, go check that out. Or I did do a reaction video to it. If you want to go back through my library and find the reaction video I did to it, you can see it there. But this really reminded me a lot of that ride that's there in Hong Kong Disneyland called Mystic Manor.
The ride vehicles also feature an interactive touchscreen for the front row only, which can be used for mini games throughout the ride. The
Wow.
custom score created for the ride was recorded by a symphony orchestra in Belgium and continues the tradition of Efteling being known for its beautiful music. Efteling has a very loyal fan base and locals are very proud of their beautiful park. Guests often say that Symbolica is better than any Disney dark ride and potentially exceeds the quality of any dark ride in the world. It's great to see
I can see that, but I can also see Disney and Universal with some of the new dark rides that are coming out catching up with this. I can. I'm not trying to put this down. If I had to say anything, I would have to say that Symbolica caused those two major theme parks to up their game in this. So, I mean, like Rise of the Resistance there in Hollywood Studios, or over in Disneyland there in Galaxy's Edge, is a really good dark ride. And of course, that was built after this. I've seen some dark rides from Universal that they're pretty good now too. And it could be Symbolica was the reason why Disney and Universal had to up their game on dark rides. So, I mean, if we have Efteling or Symbolica to thank you for causing that competition to have other companies create, better dark rides.
the park using its own characters and ideas for dark rides without the need of a big franchise to back it up.
De gasten zijn gearriveerd. Illumina, Fantasia, Symbolica. Koester je fantasie. De bron van alle magie.
Have you ridden Symbolica? How does it compare to other dark rides in the world for you? Let us know in the comments below and we will see you next time.
So, wow, it's really amazing. I like learning about different attractions and everything like that. And Symbolica, obviously, I didn't know. I'm guessing Pardos, the mascot there at Efteling, he must have been around for a while until this was completely built, from the way I took it. And from the way it sounds like you guys had a lot of construction there at Efteling for a while this was being built. So, I mean, I understand that because, when we go down to Walt Disney World and we go into Epcot right now, the whole entire place is nothing but construction. So, but man, it sounded like it took a lot of development just to get this ride up and going. And then once it finally was done, it paid off. So fans there of Efteling and of Symbolica must have been happy that they got this great dark ride. I think the dark ride is amazing. I understand. I do. I think it compares with any dark ride, if not being the better one. Like I said, the only thing is I don't know if I could say it's the better one now. Maybe in 2017, after it was built, there was nothing like it. But since then, Symbolica has caused the other major theme parks up their game, and they have created some better. I'm not saying they're better than Symbolica. I'm saying they're better than what they were, because there are some now amazing dark rides that were created by these other parks. So, but I think it's amazing. I love listening to history of certain rides and everything like that, and Symbolica obviously has a great history behind it. So, but that is gonna do it I hope to see you for my next AFA reaction video. We'll see you later. Have a good day. Bye.